Hello, folks. Welcome back to the podcast. Last night, here we talked about AEW Dynamite, in which I would say leading up to Double or Nothing was a mid show, pretty much. We did have a good main event, very solid main event between Copeland and Brody King. No disqualification for the TNT Championship. We did get more inklings and more build, I would say, towards Double or Nothing, with, I thought, was a nice segment between Serena Deeb and Tony Storm. Quote, Anarchy in the arena. Now, as it'll be Team Elite versus Team AEW for Double or Nothing. So, did get more build towards Double or Nothing. As far as the show last night, like I said, it was mid in the fact that some bright spots, yes, some spots, so-and-so, but don't worry, we'll go over all much we can, give our thoughts on everything that happened on Wednesday night's show. But thank you guys all for joining me, thoughts on the podcast today, and much more. And be sure to subscribe if you're new. Of course, leave a like button down below now or at the end of the video, whichever, if you like this video. And thank you guys for joining me today on this fine, I would say, Thursday. The weather, I think we can say the weather as far as New Mexico is not the greatest. But, you know, we're in a unique phase now where it's May going into the summer and it's only going to get hotter. So, those with allergies, be sure to be more careful being outside. And for those who love, swimming, being outside, being outdoors, I do like being outdoors every so often. But nonetheless, be sure to be careful as the weather gets hotter. But with that little intro out of the way, Dynamite again. So, I mentioned, so before we get into the breakdown and review, so really the big thing, or the two big things I would say coming out of Wednesday night's show was Anarchy in the arena. Yes, it's returning for another year. Tony Khan and AEW obviously love their traditions. Monday, or why did I say Monday? But Double or Nothing in Vegas, All Out in Chicago, Grand Slam in New York, etc. And these matches that go down. But Anarchy in the arena pretty much has been a staple, I would say, at Double or Nothing the last number of years. And, it's basically a brawl for all, big 8-10-man brawl around the arena. We know the drill. And so, Team Elite versus Team AEW. So, there were some rumors and reports going around about Kenny Omega's big decision. And, well, the big decision was Anarchy in the arena. Throw the rule books out the window. So, it's going to be interesting for Vegas. So, Omega announced that FTR and 2 other big stars would make themselves known pro AEW to align themselves against the Elite, and thus those 2 stars, circulation about around both of them, turned out to be Eddie Kingston and Bryan Danielson. Now, Eddie Kingston fluidly makes sense because we know his rivalry with the Elite the last number of weeks or so, with the Bucks, with Okada, etc. Bryan Danielson, we know, has a big history with Okada, and this is the first time seeing Bryan. He will return to the ring on Saturday for the first time since Dynasty. Of course, we are all, confused, but mysteriously wondering, what his status would be following Dynasty, that great match against Will Ospreay. But, nonetheless, Bryan Danielson made his return on Wednesday. Great to see him back. He has history. And Jack Perry, this will be his first match back, unless he has a match before the pay-per-view. But, it is interesting, but I can understand because we had Blood and Guts last year between the Golden Elite and the Blackpool Combat Club. Takeshita and Pac. We also had Anarchy in the arena. We essentially had twice, at All In, they call it Stampede, which I get it because it was a stadium, but Stampede really felt like Stampede for the pandemic. And now with, again, I get it because it's a stadium, but really it felt like the same thing as Anarchy in the arena. So, I can understand the pushback on the idea. On the other hand, so it's a way to say preserve, I would say, Omega Okada, because Omega did say last week to Okada, give me a few months and then finish this, hence alluding towards All In. And you don't really know. But I'm certainly for it. The Elite versus Team AEW. Kind of wish they built toward it a bit more, but still, it's going to be fun for Vegas and Double or Nothing, that's for sure. The other big thing I would say was Christian Cage and Swerve. So, last week when Swerve, it was announced who he would face at Double or Nothing would be Christian Cage. Christian and the Patriarchy ganged up and attacked Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana, who did not see Wednesday night. I'm curious where he'll fall to this. But we saw Swerve on his own against the Patriarchy with Prince Nana, and later in the evening we saw Brian Cage, who is a part of the Mogul Embassy, hint hint, with Swerve, face off against Claudio Castagnoli, and there was no real mention, although it was a good match, there was no mention of why really Brian Cage was, or Gates of Agony were not present when Swerve was getting beaten down and Prince Nana. Then we get to Wednesday night, and Swerve said he wanted to face with Christian, but he said he wouldn't be alone. So, when Christian threatened to attack Swerve said, again, he wasn't there alone. And now all of a sudden we see Gates of Agony and Brian Cage. And at first, at first it didn't seem like it made sense. But then it did, because it's like no mention of Mogul Embassy not being there for Swerve. Something had to be said or done, kind of to explain why Swerve didn't have backup. And in the end, the Mogul Embassy, or the Embassy, Brian Cage and Gates of Agony attacked brutally Swerve Strickland, throwing him through the announce table, thus, making sense. This was, I would say, the most logical path. Because, look, Christian Cage or the Bucks, because the Bucks did congratulate Christian Cage after the big attack in the segment, and Christian Cage said this was the start of a good working relationship. They allude to perhaps Christian Cage, being behind this. Being behind, why they weren't present last week, but instead they attacked, Swerve this week. In the end, if you want Swerve to be your babyface champion, he's off being by himself instead of having these guys as backup. And besides, Brian Cage, Gates of Agony are much better as heels anyways, so now where is Prince Nana? How does he feel about this? Will we get an explanation out of the MC? Perhaps. Swerve went to have this success and without the MC, so yeah, certainly there. We'll see. But yeah, now Swerve against the patriarchy and now is on his own. Going into Vegas in a few weeks at Double or Nothing. But yeah, those were kind of the big focal points as far as Dynamite. But nonetheless, we'll go over the review, kind of everything much we can, and give our thoughts. And thank you guys all. But hey, Joe, 2 in Love here to provide your AEW Dynamite review. So again, thank you guys all. Yeah. So, AEW Dynamite, now getting to the breakdown. AEW Dynamite started off with Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland, the TNT champion, facing Brody King for TNT Championship. So, right to the ring. So, they were in Edmonton. And I'm guessing Renee was not there. But whoever filled in for her, not sure her name, but thought she did pretty good in her own right. But she asked Copeland, all his thoughts for his title match against Brody King tonight, and he said that he's been going through having thoughts inside his head and going in dark places, and saying on Wednesday night it ends. And he got off the phone with Tony Khan, and it's official. There'll be a no disqualification match. Him versus Brody King Wednesday night, and it was solid, very solid match. Orange Cassidy versus Trent Barreta. This match, by the way, so Taz was on commentary. He apparently had a procedure or something for his knee. So he was not present. Don Callis actually commentated 3-man booth with Tony Schiavone and Excalibur. It was certainly a different vibe, I would say. Don Callis commenting the whole show. But rest assured, love Taz, miss Taz. Hope he feels better ASAP. But Don Callis, he certainly adds a different element and vibe to the commentary crew, I would say. I mean, we don't always need 3 commentators, but it was certainly unique vibe to the rest of the show. But as far as this match, so And I didn't even realize it until we heard Don Callis commenting after the match. It's like it made sense because last week we saw after this little scuffle or break apart that Don Callis walked away with Orange Cassidy, trying to court him, trying to persuade him into joining the family, Don Callis family. This match, it's tough because at one point I really enjoyed Orange Cassidy and I enjoyed the Best Friends as a tag team probably more than some. This match I don't think was the right fit to open the show with, to be honest. I mean, it's hard to care. It's like Orange Cassidy and Trent, much rather Trent come out in a segment explain why he's so against Orange Cassidy and then etc. But it's going to the match and it just didn't click. And Trent came out to his best friends, the Best Friends theme. Yeah. So Trent basically seriously, if Orange Cassidy took a break from TV, it would certainly help. Because with his character, heel or babyface, kind of feels hard to care at this point. So, but he did turn 40, I think, sometime the other day. So, happy birthday to him, I guess. So, the story's match was Trent wanting to hurt Orange Cassidy, not really trying to win, but trying to maim and hurt Orange Cassidy. And I was a bit conflicted as to why this was a regular rules match, but it is what it is. So, at one point, Trent hit a pile driver, did not go for the cover. And certainly a point during this match where, so the finish match came where Trent, referee was checking in on Orange, and Trent went to expose the corner turnbuckle, and it made a loud noise. So then, referee notices it, and then goes for a turnbuckle, while Orange Cassidy on the other side conveniently exposes that turnbuckle, and of course hindsight's 2020, but referee did not see, and Orange Cassidy bounces Trent off the exposed turnbuckle. Surprise. High stack pin. 1, 2, 3. And Orange Cassidy gets the victory. Now, how this unfolded really kind of felt poor after, because Trent went face first into exposed turnbuckle, and then shortly after he attacks Orange Cassidy. And so it's on the attack on Orange Cassidy, and then he sets up the steps and he delivers a pile driver onto Orange Cassidy on top of the steps. But keeping Orange Cassidy Superman, he's all of a sudden up. Just shortly after, I kind of thought that was sad to see, honestly. But, yeah. So, Trent has a weapon. Orange Cassidy has a weapon. They look like they're on. Then Don Callis tries to fend off and separate them two. Referees then chime in, and Chris Statlander is conflicted. She's on there. She's trying to get Trent to answer. I mean, yeah. See, honestly, it would have looked better if, say, well, it would have made Trent look better if, during the match, they have Trent hit a power driver on top of the steps. It's called DQ. Orange Cassidy then is down. Don Callis separates them, trying to fend off the brutality, and Trent's just leaving. But yeah, it was not a pretty way to open the show, I'd say. The Elite, or the Young Bucks, either way. So they were in their car driving to the arena, into the parking lot, and they were just, trying to find a spot to park. And then they go and find a parking, and they're like, well, is he here, or is he still in Jacksonville? And they're not sure, so they decide, well, why not? We just park there. So then all of a sudden we see a big, almost plaque-like piece of paper on part of a wall. It says Pacific parking spot for Tony Khan. And then you just see that in the front of the window. So it's yeah. We'll also say for the second week we got the new Elite opening video package, which again, it's hilarious now. Seeing it, it's, yeah, appreciative. Next up, Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega. So it's announced, yeah, important announcement. So he was not there in person. He was there via hospital bed. Made this announcement how, the Bucks decide to end a 14-year friendship with him last week. Talk about changing the world and how Matthew Jackson reiterated it's just business. Okay, well, they said, how about for Double or Nothing Vegas, May 26th? Without chaos, they throw it, the rules out the window, and goes Anarchy in the arena. Team Elite versus Team AEW. Mentioned FTR and mentioned two other names, first come, first serve, saying they'll make their presence known. Then on Dynamite. So yeah, it was made. Yeah, Kenny, selling the attack from last week. Again, the vibe I think we kind of feel is that Kenny is healthy. Well, he's close to healthy. I mean, he's home. He's been home doing these streams of games. He's answering questions. He's close to 100%. He's not exactly 100%. Hence, another reason why he probably said to Okada, hey, give me a few months. So, it's weird because we keep wondering, and it's like Adam Cole recuperating, MJF, he's likely not going to be back for a while in and of itself. Kenny Omega is hurt, but that just speaks to the depth of the roster. That it's going to be interesting, certainly. Oh, it's here. The Professor, Serena D. So, it was announced last week after her win over Mariah May that she would be facing Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship at Double or Nothing, which should be a great match between the two women. So they were in Edmonton, and I gotta admit, the crowd seemed I get they're hockey fans, the Edmonton Oilers are in playoffs, but kind of felt like they were more invested about their hockey team than Serena Deeb here, to be honest. Some Just my opinion, but nonetheless, Serena Deeb. Well, Serena Deeb's great, but the fact is, this is the unfortunate thing. Sometimes with AEW, many times their child challengers is that Deeb, they have boasted her about being undefeated and, getting wins on, say, Rampage or Collision, and there was talk and speculation that she was going to face Mercedes Moné her first match coming in, and that is not the case. And instead, she's being thrust into a title match against Toni Storm at Double or Nothing. And last week felt like her first match on Dynamite in a long time. So, I mean, it's one of the issues. It's one of the hot and cold issues of AEW. Nonetheless, Serena Deeb was out there and documented why she needs to win this, saying how she was out for a 15-month-long hiatus with 3 unprovoked seizures, and documented how scary it's been, but she's recovered and fought for her life, and she's on her way back to fight to finally be a champion and AEW World Champion, Women's Champion. And Toni Storm was out there in peak fashion, and Toni said, well, first of all, Serena Deeb said she needs to buckle up and cut the crap and take this seriously. And Toni said that hearing about her, that she's been sounding like a charity case. So she threw some dollar dues at Serena Deeb, and Toni Storm said about her story that she does not give one solitary shit. And they got close and locked eye to eye, and it looked like Toni Storm was going for a cheap shot with a shoe, but Serena Deeb knocked her out with clean right hand to the face, and that was it. Toni Storm left land at the feet of Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb walked off. Toni Storm was checked on by Luther. Luther carried it off. I have to say this was unique timing, because shortly after we got Mariah May in action, and we did not see Mariah May in this scenario. Just an observation. So, then we got Orange Cassidy backstage in the trainer's room. And I get it, but again, it's so shown that Rocky and Romero went to check on Orange Cassidy, who was in the trainer's room favoring his neck. And so match was made that Jay White would face Rocky Romero. And Rocky, is part of Chaos. And, Roppongi Vice with Trent. And, his friends with Orange Cassidy. Saying how, hey, that Tony Khan said that if I beat Jay White, I get me, you, and a partner of our choosing could be getting a shot at, or will be getting a shot at the AEW Trios Championships, which right off the bat sounds ridiculous. I like Rocky. He's had some good matches, but just that sentence sounds ridiculous. You beat a member of the Trios Champions, and you get a shot seemingly at the Trios Championships. So he brought up Trent's name, and Orange was pissed, but he said, good luck, man, good luck. What we did like was Pac was backstage, and he was asked about his situation and asked about the Death Triangle, and Pac just looked blank in the face. So we saw Bullet Club Gold, Jay White and the Guns. Now, right off the bat, I will say I wish they would get rid, honestly, of they don't need to be holding 9 titles right off the bat. I mean, it's like they're carrying the Acclaim's design, they're carrying the old design of the Trios Championships, and they're holding the Ring of Honor 6-man titles. They do not need all the titles. Plus, after seeing what the Acclaim basically did with the Trios titles, I'm basically done with seeing those pink titles. I will say it's kind of entertaining seeing Jay White hold the titles basically almost like a trophy type deal on his gold bat. I will say that, but what was interesting was Jay White interrupted Pac and talked about Death Triangle, saying, you don't need to worry about, the reality is you lost to Okada, and I know someone who knows how to beat Okada. Saying that maybe you should look back and watch how a real champion gets the job done. Maybe I should go against Okada instead. Maybe I should get the Continental Championship and add more gold to the Bang Bang Gang. So they said, if you're not down with that, we just got 2 words for you: guns up. And then Austin Gunn quietly said, guns up, you bastard. So, I mean, we haven't seen Phoenix in a while wrestle. I mean, wrestle once. I think it was like last week on Collision. But, I mean, with the proper build, would I like to see... I would definitely like to see Bullet Club Gold for that triangle. I will say that. That would certainly be fun. Now, they could certainly build it up better, but that's certainly a match I would love to see. So then we got Mariah May versus Harley Cameron. Now, this match, I think many of us were skeptical about. I'll say a bit of unknowns, pretty much, because yes, two beautiful ladies right off the bat. We know Mariah May can wrestle. You know, her and this gimmick, you know, basically she's the old Toni Storm, or Toni Storm of old, in a way. I mean, she has her old theme music. She's dressed in a way like Toni Storm used to. So, I mean, yeah, those Harley Cameron, it's like we've seen her around, and she's aligned herself now with Saraya and Saraya's brother, but we have not really seen her wrestle. And I saw a report online saying that she had a match at the Chris Jericho Cruise, and she did well. So this match, I'd say, was pretty alright. I'd say. Harley Cameron did well. Of course, credit to Mariah May as well. But yeah, Harley held her own of itself for a few minutes. And apparently there were some hecklers or some weirdos at ringside. So, but anyway, Saraya knows, and it's hilarious. But Mariah May won with a Michinoku driver, and she got the win over Harley. Again, Harley did well, I would say, during this match. Now, obviously, the thing is, you know, we're okay, so we have, it's on the 26th, so we got two, well, if you count Wednesday night, you know, 3 weeks worth of Dynamite left till Double or Nothing. So I think people seeing these, you know, dead matches in a way on the road to pay-per-view, a bit confusing, but, you know, I guess their way of giving Harley some exposure, you know, because after a while you can only see a person so often in segments, but, you know, can they wrestle? So, I mean, we'll see. And, you know, Saraya, she's aligned with Saraya, who, you know, as great as someone has ever been, but the reality is she can't really wrestle as she did before her neck or back issue. So, you know, Harley, she did fine against Mariah May. She got the win. Afterwards, she got beat down by Saraya, and Harley, and she was saved by, again, her friend Mina Shirakawa, who they took some champagne shots after the match. You know, this could be also due to their partnership with Stardom. Fact is, Tony, I believe, was part of Stardom, and Mariah May was also part of Stardom. So I guess Mina, she's good friends with Mariah May, and, so I wonder if they're trying to set almost plant the seeds of Ryan May potentially turning babyface and winning, or basically dethroning her teacher. As in, she's the one that dethrones Tony Storm. It's like, you don't know, but it could certainly happen. I mean, right now, Tony Storm is doing the best work of anyone in the women's division, and you don't want to see her drop the towel yet. But I wonder if they're trying to maybe separate Mariah May, because she's done really well as basically the students or the people of Tony Storm, but wanting her to break out on her own, it's certainly there. We'll see. I keep going to my phone because, I print out my notes, and usually I see my notes on my phone, but I'm trying to create a better view for you guys, for the audience, because don't want to be all hunched over the camera. I did adjust it, but I'm looking at my notes. Okay, how I used to do. So I don't know. We'll see. So then we got Swerve Strickland face to face with Christian Cage. So Swerve was out there and he mentioned he was pissed and in a fighting mood. And they replayed what happened last week with Christian and the Patriarchy out there and attacking Swerve and Prince Nana and ripping a dread out of Swerve's head or Swerve's hair. So Christian Cage and the Patriarchy then answered. Christian waltzed out there, like a prick, smug attitude. Love it. Christian talked about, he's told the crowd many times, shut up on conducting my business. Says, how I'm gonna beat you down in the ring soon. In a few hours, we'll see the Vancouver Canucks beat down on the Edmonton Oilers number of hockey references in this, because Swerve called out, said he was the Connor McDavid of AEW, which obviously gets a big thing for the Edmonton fans. Excuse me. As and he said that Edmonton's not going to have a championship dreams. So he said that with them ripping out a dread of Swerve's hair, saying that week in, week out, they're going to take something from him before they finally takes what he wants, and that's the AEW World Championship. He mentioned Swerve's gold teeth, or his grills. And Christian mentioned, while he'd take them from him right now. So then Swerve did mention, well, he did say he didn't come there alone. So then all of a sudden we see Bishop Khan, Toa Leona, and Brian Cage all emerge in the ring to back up Swerve. And Swerve's like, well, why don't you come in? Why don't you take my grills from me? Alright, because you're not. And Swerve mentioned how when Christian is met with a difficult situation, he will quit. So Christian looked shook. He looked like he didn't know what to say. So then he looked over to Brian Cage and he basically gave a nod. Like, yep. So when Brian Cage attacked Swerve from behind and then the 301 beatdown ensues. And yeah, brutal. Swerve was picked apart. Swerve was hit with a big powerbomb by Cage. Brian Cage threw Swerve to the outside and was basically thrown to or through the announce table, and Swerve was left laying. Swerve was left laying in a heap as the patriarchy left the arena. So there you go. And then all of a sudden we cut to the backstage and Young Bucks are dapping up Christian, saying that good job. You know, and Christian was like, good doing business, and this is a good start to a good working relationship. So the Bucks congratulated them all, and Matt said to Nicholas, you wouldn't say that was a bitch move, would you? They're like, nah. So, yeah. So, cut to the announce table as they were finally able to help Swerve, and Don Callis was perplexed. He was like, where do I sit now? And, yeah, talking with Tony Schiavone, the Excalibur. Yeah. Brutal segment. Willow Nightingale. Yep. I saw, guys. If you're wondering, yes, I saw. But Will Nightingale, she was asked about Mercedes Moné. Basically, was asked if she was ready for Double or Nothing and Mercedes, and she's like, yeah. Talked about. Basically, asked Mercedes, is she ready for me for Double or Nothing, and said she apologized for what happened last time they were in the ring, and says she apologizes for taking away the rest of her wrestling year. Well, mentioned how, the run she's been on. She won the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. She won the Owen Hart Cup. She won the TBS Championship now. And she's on a run. And it's great to see. Great to see for Will. There was something for Mercedes Moné, but it's like there's only so many weeks where a segment and promos can buy enough time. It's like since Big Business, Mercedes' run has been met with a lot of criticism. And her first match is going to be at Double or Nothing, a TBS title match. And yeah. So it's like, it's already been to a bad start. And yeah. Jay White versus Rocky Romero. Love Jay White. This match didn't need to be on the show. Nope. But what happened after? And the segment before was really detailed. So Jay White won here. Blade Runner. 1, 2, 3. Thanks for counter Rocky. Afterwards, the Bastard Pack. Afterwards, saved Rocky from further attack. Egging World Cup Gold to continue the fight, but that was not the case. And yeah, so it seems. Bullet Club Gold for that triangle in the future. That would be great. That would be great. Certainly. The Learning Tree. Chris Jericho. The Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, and Big Bill versus two enhancement talents. This, again, this is the other thing, when people are looking towards matches to build for the pay-per-view. So, this is short, so Big Bill landed 2 choke slams. Jericho just came in, juice effect 1, 2, 3, and they won. So Jericho mentioned, well, now he could be on 2 hours of Dynamite if he could. Cheesy, somewhat, but it's growing. It's growing. So he mentioned it's unfortunate what happened to Hook, We haven't seen him since he hit himself in the head with a baseball bat at Dynasty. So, but he'll be back. And then Tony Schiavone appeared out of thin air and mentioned how Hook will be back next week in person. So, could we see another match now with Hook and Jericho at Double or Nothing? I don't know. I mean, the match did not get a good reception at Dynasty, so I don't know. But we'll see. The other thing is, Jericho said it's so great to be back in Calgary, Edmonton, and that got a good amount of heat from the fans, and yeah. Main events. Adam Copeland, Brody King. No disqualification, Cope open for TNT Championship. This was fun. This brutal, a heck of a way to end the show. So, Adam Copeland, it's crazy. Now he's 50. Putting up matches like this, it's brutal stuff with Brody King, who's no slouch. This was a brutal match. Brody King was busted open. Both guys were exhausted. I mean, Copeland at one point went for a Samoan drop, but collapsed on the way to Brody King, and he landed a wrong cannonball for a near fall. Landed a pile driver, short spike pile driver for a 2. But this was the big spot. So a table was set up on the outside, and kind of wonder if they needed maybe one other, but nonetheless, it was a great spot. So, Copeland, he landed a spear off the apron, sending Brody through this table. Brutal spot, but it was fun. And seeing Copeland still putting this work at 50 years old, it's crazy. Great stuff. Great stuff. So, Copeland back in the ring. Brody back in the ring. Copeland landing another spear. 1, 2, 3. And Copeland won a brutal and fun main event. Now, again, unfortunately, the ending to the match, and I'm wondering if, because with the last segment, they had an overrun, so I'm curious if this ending felt this way, because many times in AEW, they cram as much as they can into the show. But, so a few moments after, Copeland is on his knees, about to accept the TNT Championship, and Brody, after this match, he attacks Copeland almost not selling it in a way. And Kyle O'Reilly, of all people, comes out to attack Brody and to save Copeland. And it was apparently announced backstage. Copeland versus O'Reilly in O'Reilly's hometown of Vancouver, and TNT Championship match, Cope Open. So there we go. If another member of the House of Black showed up, definitely have looked better than that. And again, it just didn't feel like a good ending to a hell of a match. That's unfortunate. Yeah. So then, main event segment. So the Elite was out there mentioning they're on a bit of an overrun, but it's cool because they run things and they're in charge. So, talked about Tony Khan, who's selling Jack Saul, said he apologizes. You're the best job boss I've ever had, but it was business, and you got in our way, and we did what we had to do, delivering you a Tony Khan driver to Tony Khan. Kenny Omega said that best friends, fellow EVPs, but mentioned also how got in our way as well, and we had to deliver a EVP trigger to an EVP. So Kazuchika Okada told Kenny Omega, said, "Get well soon," and with a smirk and a wink to the camera, Hiro Okada is great. So, excuse me. So, then Nicholas Jackson took the mic and said, well, Ken, you want anarchy in arena? Well, we accept. And all of a sudden we hear, and before, Nicholas also said, well, you think FTR is signing with you because they like you? No, it's because they hate us. So, then we hear FTR's music play, and FTR is like, well, needing 2 more guys to beat your asses. And it took a lot of convincing, but we found 2 guys with enough balls to answer the call. So, A. Kingston strolls out and arrives. I don't think it's been a couple weeks since we've seen Eddie. And then Brian Nelson, who we have not seen since Dynasty. Great to see him back. I don't think it was needed, but Tony Schiavone announced that he'll be back in action on Saturday for Collision. So there you go. They stormed to the ring and a big brawl ensued. That was basically how Dynamite went off the air. So, fun stuff there, Anarchy in the Arena. I will say, so, couple things. So, Dynamite definitely finished off better in the second half. I don't know why, but they're kind of like the New York Knicks of currently up the playoffs. You know, not great in the first half, but find a way. So, here's the thing. Now, we still got 2 weeks, but Will Ospreay. So, and Roderick Strong would like to say, so, it's been a few weeks since, or it's been a couple weeks since Ospreay won that gauntlet match to get a shot at Roddy at Double or Nothing. But we have not heard from Roddy or seen Ospreay really since. So, we'll see. Again, they got 2 weeks left, but yeah, it's kind of thing. Mention out Adam Copeland with his O'Reilly on Saturday's Collision. Perhaps we see Malachi Black make his presence felt. I mean, it's pretty inevitable. That's a match to make for Vegas. Copeland versus Black, but you know, waiting on confirmation. I think that's the main thing. So we'll see. Overall, Dynamite, like I mentioned, was a mid type of edition. Not bad, but not stellar. But feel like it advanced some matches, some feuds going into Double or Nothing, and that's sorry, I guess. But anyways, guys, for now, thank you guys all for joining me. Again, hit that like button, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you guys are new or just haven't already. Thank you guys all. See you guys next time. Appreciate it. I'm A. Joe Tone Love. See you guys next time. And peace.